Hey everybody, this is David at Barnyard Bees. Today is December 23rd. I'm very late on this video. There's been so much going on this year. A lot of people sick, and then just a lot of issues with everything is one reason. But just anyway, not going to get into much about that. I just want to get this video out because it's long past due. Sorry if you hear the wind blowing because it is whipping up pretty good. It's fairly warm out. It's probably 55 degrees today, so it's fairly warm. But here's what I want to talk about. This is an insurance policy for your bees. To me, this is the best winter insurance policy, besides your mite treatments and your preps, of course, to that, is your bee is always having the chances of starving out through the winter, and what you can do to prevent that. Now, what I'm going to demonstrate today is what we do here in the South with our rapid feeders. Now, you can experiment as far north as you go. A lot of people that's further north don't like this idea because the bees can't move because basically you're right here, so the bees come up in this top super and they will come directly up to feed. Now, I can't see an advantage to that. What people will do, they will, on top of their frames, they'll lay down a newspaper. I won't demonstrate, I'll explain it. Or a paper towel, and they'll pour sugar pretty much the whole length and width of those frames, except leaving a little crack on each end of it, on each side, to allow for airflow. Because I've done that before and completely closed it off and killed the bees because it took away all their ventilation. But what I'm going to demonstrate today, you can see the bees, we got rid of their sugar water. You can see here where I've cleaned it up, the liquid. And of course they've been out without liquid for a while. It just needed cleaned up a little bit. So the 1st of December is when I stop with the liquid. And from there, we'll add dry sugar to these bees. And I'll show you what we do. This is our rapid feeders. If you need these, barnyardbees.com. We've got plenty of them. They're very good for this idea. So let me get started and I'll show you what we do. Okay, here's my sugar. It doesn't matter. Just get you some granulated sugar. And it's dry. It's in dry form. Now you can, if you want to moisten this down just a little bit. But usually when you put this on the 1st of December, the moisture, another thing that this sugar does, it helps absorb the moisture in the hive, and it condensates. It'll get the sugar damp, and then the sugar will harden up, and then the bees will feed on it. So usually when you do this, it's about a month later before they start feeding. But you should have plenty of honey supplies up until that point. And what I've always noticed with my bees is they don't even touch it until after the 1st of the year, and they still have honey supplies left. But it's like they start to realize that they are running a little bit low. So what I'll do, now the cup's on, of course. They're looking for food. I'll just pour, usually I'll put a whole bag in there. Or about 3/4. It don't have to be a whole bag, but that'll be plenty for them. And see them trying to come up. Now, what you got to do at this point, okay, for some reason in the process of turning around and grabbing my lid, I forgot to hit the record button. So basically what I did, I pulled the cap off and I put the lid on. It did make the bees a little bit angry, and I missed that. I was hoping to get that on video. None of them stung me, but you can see them down in there now. So I'm going to have to record the rest of this. Now they're coming out a little angry. It didn't take them long, did it? Okay, well, I got a little bit of their anger on film. But anyway, what I did, I pulled the cap off and put the lid on. That way, that keeps them from escaping out. It allows them to get inside the sugar water, or inside the sugar, the dry sugar, I'm sorry. And what will happen is that the moisture will condensate. Some will come up and escape the holes, come out. See, I have a porthole drilled here with a hardware cloth. One here one this side and one on this other side. And they're done right through the handles right here. And that's to keep wind and rain from blowing in down here where it's close to that little edge right there. You can see right up there on top. So, but some moisture will still come up and it'll condensate on top of this lid. It'll drip down on the sugar. It'll begin to harden up, crystallize, and then about a month later, those bees will start feeding on that. But what I recommend, look how see how they're coming up. They're a little bit angry. Winter bees are your angriest. They're your longest surviving bee of any time throughout the year. Your winter bees from late fall through the spring are your oldest bees that will ever live. And those type of bees aren't quite as friendly as bees in the spring. And you know, you always hear me brag about how gentle stalk our bees are, and they are super gentle. But another trick too is always good timing. You know, within a nectar flow is a perfect time. Within a nice clear sunny day, midday, the worst days are always, you know, cold, dark, rainy. I did a video one time up there. It was cold and dark and rainy at night, just to show you how mean it was. If I can find it, I'll post it up there in one of the corners, but if not, go back and look in our archive. You'll see how angry those bees were at that time. But like I said, what has always given us the edge is, even with all those conditions, our bees are still more friendlier than any stock of bees I've seen anywhere. I've gone out of the area in Tennessee and shaking swarms in the Chattanooga area. For some reason, anytime I ever go up here and shake a swarm or do a cutout, those bees are a lot meaner than the bees. We're really lucky here in North Georgia. It's just the bees in general are friendly, are good friendly stock of bees. And then we've just been really lucky with ours. A really nice gentle stock of bees. But anyway, these rapid feeders work really well, at least here in North Georgia. In warmer climates, zone 7 and above. Now, if you're going on down to zone 6, 5, and such, you may have a harder time with those bees finding the sugar source. You may have to go with where you'll take a little shim, like right here's your feeder board or your inner cover, whatever you want to call it, and you'll put a shim up here. You'll put a paper towel down or a newspaper, and you'll pour sugar, dry sugar, over that whole area except for a little bit part of the front, the back, the sides, to give that still a little bit air, give that moisture a place to go. You don't want to completely close it off down there before you kill the bees. So it's very simple, but just keep in mind, keep ventilation within those bees. Now you can experiment. I've never, in where we're at, have a problem with feeding bees this way. And the good thing about this, in midwinter, if you didn't prep enough and you didn't make your sugar board big enough, if you didn't put a candy board down that lasted them, or dry sugar, well, then you're kind of stuck, because the last thing you want to do in midwinter is break that propolis seal to add down more sugar, especially in cold climates. But with this here, it's pretty much, it's undisturbable except for the little hole right there, except for the little hole right there in the middle. And when you go in there and crack it open very small on a day that's just not brutally cold, and pour some more sugar around there, then you're good to go. But anyway, that's about it. I just want to talk about your sugar as a great insurance policy for your bees. Great insurance policy for your bees throughout the winter. Now, so is other preparations, like make sure you got that you got a good mite, a very low mite count. Make sure you got your bees vaporizers where you use oxalic acid. But anyway, I'll get off that subject, and I was talking about sugar anyway, and how great another thing is the pollen. Make sure you keep pollen. We keep a pollen feeder going all the time, year round, so that gives them any time that they're low on sources, or even in the summertime when conditions are wet. But in the winter time, In cold climates and in zones 654 and lower, you are better off to put your pollen patty in, because your bees are not going to have cleansing flights like ours do here from North Georgia down, or some a little bit further, or some a little up in Tennessee. But that's something you'll just have to know about your own area. So that's about it. I'm gonna get off the subject of sugar insurance, because it is a great insurance. And don't forget, folks, please help share videos, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Barnyard Bees.